It's great to be back. What are the 9 most scariest words in the English language? Hello, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. 49% of the American population is now on some form of government help. When that number reaches 51%, we've lost our republic. People are motivated to vote for 2 reasons. What am I going to lose, or what am I going to get? We fail to see the big picture. That big picture is a 14 trillion debt and 100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, created by the mentality of government help. For over 2 years, Tea Partiers stood shoulder to shoulder and fought Obamacare and its unconstitutional mandates, its $2 trillion cost and its pathway to destroying the quality of our free market healthcare system. With Tea Partiers behind them, 26 attorney generals filed lawsuits against Obamacare. 2 federal judges ruled it unconstitutional. We railed against illegal immigration and its unsustainable cost. Together, we waged a battle against the wastefulness of the bailouts and the non-stimulus that only created government jobs and union jobs and gave subsidies to Obama business donors that signed on to green technology, or what I call climate change theology. We pushed back against public sector entitlements and money laundering labor unions for the Democratic Party. Patriots, we cannot stop now because it is not enough. Our newly elected Congress only fought for $38 billion in budget cuts, a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Now we are probably going to have to raise the debt ceiling. $38 billion is only 2% of the deficit and just 0.002% of the debt. This level of debt is like your family making $48,000, spending $78,000, and putting $280,000 on their credit card. Now, Congressman Paul Ryan's new plan cuts spending by $6 trillion over 10 years. But even the Ryan plan does not eliminate the debt for almost 30 years. His old plan did not eliminate the debt till 2080. And at that time, Paul Ryan was labeled an extremist by his own party. Today, those same House members, thank goodness, voted for his plan. Now, Obama, the great socialist, wants to reduce the debt by raising taxes and putting the final death nail on the economy. Our Congressman John Yarmuth stated yesterday on Mandy's show when she asked him a simple question: do we raise taxes or do we cut spending? And you will not believe what he said. He said those are false choices. Those are the only 2 choices. Liberals like John Yarmuth and Obama cannot wait to raise taxes on all those bad rich people, you know, the ones that create the jobs and send all the revenue back to Washington. One more war, one more natural disaster, more bank failures could topple the dollar at any time. Just last month, the U.S. Treasury paid out $1 trillion, 8.5 times the $120 billion it took in. $700 billion of that $1 trillion was paid out in loans. Another $120 billion was paid out in entitlements. To pay off the $700 billion in loans, the government sold bond securities, or rather borrowed another $700 billion. It makes perfect sense. Do you have a headache yet? Only the government can do that. We thought Fannie and Freddie's loans were secure, and we ended up with toxic assets that almost toppled the banks. Economists in 2007 were alarmed because the debt was at $5 trillion, 37% of our GDP. The debt is projected to rise by $1.5 trillion every year. By 2015, the debt is projected to be $20 trillion, 100% of our GDP. At that point, America goes into default. The illustrious Department of Labor tells us that the economy is turning around. Well, I'm not buying it. Are you buying it? 10% of homes are laying vacant. Housing is an all-time low. 1 in 4 homes are in some state of foreclosure. Real unemployment is at 17%. There's 500 applicants for every large corporation job opening. There's $1.5 trillion in corporate real estate that is underwater. And who is hiring? Google, GE, GM, all friends of the Obama regime who all got taxpayer financing while the rest of the country suffers. The Republican alibi for not cutting more is that they've changed the trajectory of the spending culture. Well, that's just not good enough. Erskine Bowles, Barack Obama's own chair of his debt commission, warns about our debt. He says, this debt and these deficits are like a cancer, and they are truly going to destroy this country from within. This problem is going to happen. It may be 2 years, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. But if our bankers in Asia begin to believe that we're not going to meet our obligations, what happens to interest rates? The U.S. economy? The markets will absolutely devastate us. The problem is real, the solutions are painful, and we have to act. This is Obama's guys telling us this. The first battle began in Washington, but the second struggle is here in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's debt has grown by $2.5 billion under Governor Beshear. It is only the T with boots on the ground that will be the last stopgap for saving this country, holding our elected officials accountable at every level. The Kentucky legislature has gone into special session 8 times in the last 10 years at the cost of $68,000 per day. So watch how your state reps vote.